Back 4 Blood, the spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead franchise made by the same team, Turtle Rock Studios. What's up guys, Veteran Gamer here. Today's review is Back 4 Blood, and let's just get right into it. Starting with this game's presentation. The game's overall presentation is good in the sense of its graphics and audio. While I don't think neither are standouts, they're not bad either. They do the job as they need to be. They really help sell the environment and they really help sell the atmosphere. And that's the important thing about Back 4 Blood. They nail the atmosphere of a zombie apocalypse. Whether it's through the fog, whether it's through the bantering of the characters that you play as, whether it's through the audio of the zombies. Everything about this game's atmosphere feels like a zombie apocalypse, and they did a really good job in that regard. When it comes to the way the game plays, the way the gunplay feels in this game, I think the gunplay overall is just okay, to be honest. It's not that it feels bad, it's just that there's a lack of feedback when you get kills, and it just, something about it feels a little bit off, but nothing crazy. Overall, I felt it never really hampered my experience. I never really felt like I was fighting the mechanics of the game to get kills. It didn't feel quite 100% accurate. But what is the bread and butter of Back 4 Blood? It's the card system. This game will live and die by its card system and by your ability to have friends to play with. If you have a dedicated group of friends to play with, Back 4 Blood will most definitely be a game that you could be playing for quite some time. The card system itself, the card system in combination with the different characters allow you to make builds. You know, certain characters are designed to have a melee build. Another character could be designed for a DPS build. You know, you could also have a healing build. But in order to have these builds, you need to collect the cards. And the cards will allow you to build decks. And as you build these decks, you are able to create all sorts of builds and help augment your team with your teammates on what your squad should look like. This is why having 3 coordinated friends is important for this game, so that you can all work together to have a certain build for certain characters to augment each other, especially when playing on the harder difficulties, which I'll get to in a moment. The game does get better as you collect more cards, this is true, and the game also has a little camp section. This camp section is basically like the game's main hub, equivalent to that of Destiny's Tower, only you don't have other players sharing that hub with you. It is just you. You can go talk to the various vendors, or you could just open up the menu screen. You go here when you want to build your decks, and as well as apply cosmetics to your characters and or the weapons themselves. But for all the good things that Back 4 Blood does, it is most definitely not a perfect game. First and foremost, if you are planning on playing this game solo, don't. This game's solo mode is one of the most pathetic solo modes I've ever seen. There is literally no progression whatsoever. So do not buy this game and intend on playing this game solo. There is no progression whatsoever, and playing with bots is just not as fun and not as rewarding. So I would recommend just not even bother playing the solo mode of this game. And in saying that, whatever you do, skip the tutorial. Do not do the tutorial unless you're willing to do it again. I say that because when the game asks you to do the tutorial, if you do it, you will be queued solo and you'll go through the first few levels of the game. The issue with this is that in order to unlock the other 4 characters that are locked, you need to beat those same 4 stages, but with matchmaking turned on. So therefore, if you do the tutorial, you literally have to repeat those stages all over again in matchmaking just to unlock the 4 other characters that are locked. And the key to this is that the game doesn't tell you that. So you'll play it, and like I did the tutorial, I'm like, how do I get these other characters? Then I find out that I had to replay them with matchmaking on in order to unlock those characters. And as stated previously, each character has their own traits and perks that will help you define your builds. So unlocking the other 4 characters that are locked kind of important. The other issue I ran into, and this was a day one issue that I had, was laggy servers. I found that the servers were quite laggy at launch. It did seem to get better in the next subsequent days, but that first initial launch day, where everybody got access, not the special edition launch day, there was some lag that I experienced. I even got disconnected one time. But thankfully that was fixed, but I do have to mention that. There is a couple minor bugs and glitches with this game as well. One of the times I was actually playing a medic build in the game, but all the health bars of my teammates were not present. It just said that they were trying to connect to the game, even though they were connected, and I had no idea what their health levels were like, so I needed to rely on them to tell me, or I just had to assume that they needed to be healed. Another issue I did run into, and it's only happened once, but I did get knocked into a part of the map, and I got stuck. And I literally had to disconnect to get out of this position. I had to leave the game because there was no way for me to get out, and I couldn't kill myself for my teammates to finish the level. It was weird. It only happened once, but I do have to mention that. Now, one of the things I did say earlier was that this game is better with a full squad, and that's because of the game's difficulty level. So on the easiest difficulty level, if you're in a pre-made squad, the game will be too easy. It is good for matchmaking because you can get stupid teammates. I mean, I have literally seen stupid teammates, and in saying that, matchmaking is only good for easy because once you get to medium, the difficulty jump is ridiculous. That if you're trying to matchmake on normal, the game is far too difficult to do that because you'll get too much inconsistencies with the teammates you're going to get. And as well as when you do matchmake, half the time the game will match you and only put you and one other teammate in there and have two bots. So matchmaking is definitely only meant for the easiest difficulty. If you have a squad, that easy difficulty is going to be way too easy, but the medium difficulty will be even harder, even for a coordinated group, let alone the hard difficulty. This is just a medium. It literally goes from easy to hard. There is no medium, even though medium is supposed to be medium. And the issue with this is that the game gives you the option to start it on medium and hard, but it kind of feels like you should be playing it on easy first because you'll have no cards to build a deck if you just go to medium and hard. So it's kind of like Diablo in the sense where you got to kind of play easy so that you could build some decks and then jump into medium, even though they give you access to medium right away. In terms of matchmaking, backfilling also doesn't always happen as well. So oftentimes I finish a run without having bots filled in. I don't have people backfilling to help for some reason. And the last thing I do want to touch on, and this is just a little tip for anyone who might be having this issue, when you try to resume a run that you've left unfinished, unless you add friends deliberately, matchmaking rarely finds you a game. You have to cancel that run, start a new one from a checkpoint, and then it'll match you properly. I don't know if that's a bug, it probably is, but it's just worth noting. In the end, I enjoyed Back 4 Blood. I recommend Back 4 Blood to anyone who has Xbox Game Pass. It is on there, and if it is there, this game is borderline a must-play. But if you're going to shell out the full $60 US for this game, I would not recommend that. I would recommend waiting for a sale, as there is no solo progression, matchmaking can be a mess, and the game's PvP mode, which I played one match of, is just bad. And for a full $60, it's not worth it in my opinion, but it is definitely worth it as a Game Pass title. So in saying that, I'm giving Back 4 Blood a 7 out of 10. It is the kind of game that is good in a certain situation, depending on what your personal circumstances are. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.